Well, we have a great family, 4 very active kids. Our oldest is in college, a junior in college, so she's kind of out of the nest. But, the other 3 are still home and doing really well. One of our Moise is adopted from Haiti, and he fit in when he came here when he was 6, and so changed the dynamics of our family, but in a really positive way. And so they're involved in all kinds of activities and busy all the time, and we don't sit around a lot, so that's a good thing.
Great. Moise was adopted when he was 6?
When he was 6, yeah.
Okay. And do you mind if I ask, was it through a different agency? Or?
We did that on our own, actually, through Haiti. So we didn't have an adoption agency. My aunt and uncle actually lived in Haiti at the time and were helping this orphanage, and so that's how we found out about Moise. And so we did it on our own with the help of the orphanage over in Haiti. It took about 2 years. Well, it was a decision my wife and I made a number of years ago that we felt that we were called to adopt at some point, or at least pursue that. And that year we had decided if we were going to do it, it was time to do it, or else be quiet about it. And almost immediately this opportunity came up, and we just felt like it was divine intervention, and so we started down that road. And it was a very long, arduous process, but well worth it. And that's really the genesis of where Moise came from. Both my wife and I love children. We both wanted a big family. We have 3 of our own plus Moise, and we feel like we can do more. And we have the resources, I think, to bring on more children. And our kids are very excited. They want more siblings, and rather than just having our own child, we felt that we could open our home to a child who needed a home, and we both really felt called to that. And rather than going overseas again, through my prior work with a place called Basher Children's Home, I'm pretty familiar with some of the situations that are out there and some of the kids that really need homes. And so we decided we were going to go that route this time. And so we're getting close, but not quite there yet, but we're almost there. So we started the process early fall. Started doing the training and the program, which is foster parenting to adoption, and it didn't take us that long to get through the training. It went fairly smoothly, and we're completing our home study now. And as soon as that's done, we can start meeting kids. So it's very involved. I found out that our hot water is too hot, so we had to dial that down a little bit. But overall, it's a good program, and it's a necessary process to go through. It sometimes feels maybe a little overbearing or intrusive, but when you understand the situations that these kids are coming out of, it is imperative that we ensure that these kids are going into a stable home where they're not going to have more harmful factors, but instead will have the loving, caring home they need. So, it's not that difficult of a process. It really isn't. Probably some of the situations you learn about that you may potentially have to deal with. Even though I worked with these types of kids for years, it still is a shock to the system sometimes to understand what they actually have went through and what they're dealing with and the long-term effects that can be part of that. And then learning those skills to cope with those and to provide the help to these kids that they need. It's an eye-opener. It really is. The other thing that surprised me also was how many relatives were going through the program so that they could adopt a niece or a nephew or a grandson. There's a lot of that has to take place as well. And I would say over half the people that we went through the training with were in that category. Yeah, so I started out as a teacher, and I was teaching in public school, and it was a temporary contract, and so I needed a job. And so they hired me to teach there. It's an agency that has mostly kids that live on site. There's also a lockdown facility as well on there. And then there's also a school for kids to be bused in, troubled kids who aren't succeeding in public school. So there's a wide variety of things happening there. So I started out as a teacher there thinking that I would teach there for a year if I had to until I could get into a different job, and I immediately fell in love with it. Loved the kids, could relate to them, and I never wanted to leave, frankly. And so I ended up being there for 5 years, taught for 2 or 3 years, and ended up taking over the substance abuse program there and running that arena. But loved my time there, and it really opened my eyes up to the need that's out there for these kids. There's a lot of advice to give. I mean, first of all, I would encourage them to pursue it, but secondly, to go through it with your eyes open and don't have unreal expectations or unrealistic expectations. Understand that these are kids who are hurting, and that you can have a monumental impact on these kids, but only if you understand the trauma and the difficulties that they're coming from, and you need to be prepared for it. But if you can prepare yourself for it, you can have an impact like nobody else on these kids' lives.